So there's quite a few things happening in the NBA this season. You got Luka Doncic lighting the world on fire. We all thought the Warriors dynasty was over for about a 2-day stretch. And we've got the Markelle Fultz situation. And then there is also the Derrick Rose story, where Derrick has had his best season in a long time. He has retooled his jump shot. And the dude is killing it for the T-Wolves to the point where I think he is deserving of the 6th Man of the Year award. But when you look at Derrick's competition, it's actually kind of insane how many dudes have a case for the award right now. The number of players among all positions, whether it's guards, wings, big guys, it's kind of staggering. And we are going to attempt to look at just a few of them today, as well as a few honorable mentions. We're going to start with Spencer Dinwiddie, being put on the bench in favor of D'Angelo Russell by Kenny Atkinson. We have Dennis Schroder, who is way better for OKC than Carmelo Anthony was. We've got JJ Barea, who continues to be Rick Carlisle's best friend, and I wouldn't be surprised if he became his son in the last few seasons. Lou Williams should get it going. I don't consider him a real candidate at this moment, but we have to expect he will find his way into this. Domantas Sabonis may be the second best player on the Indiana Pacers. The New Orleans Pelicans made a big signing with Julius Randle. It is paying off as he is a human bowling ball. We've got Montrezl Harrell, who just gets a little better every season, and he's a key member of why the Clippers have been so good. We have Marcus Morris, who's been kind of a saving grace as the Celtics have been figuring things out all season. And there's also Terrence Ross, who is having a hell of a contract year at 27 years old. Now there's two guys I want to mention. One is Josh Hart, whose defense, spacing, and hustle are great. Unfortunately, his box score numbers will not give him a real chance here. Similar thing can be said for Monte Morris of the Nuggets. He is a backup point guard with an assist-to-turnover ratio of the gods, but the points are just not there. Anyway, we're going to dive into JJ Barea first. A lot of the guards first as well. So the Mavericks bench has been excellent the past 10 games or so, and I think it's the big reason why they've had a turnaround even as they struggled out of the gate this season. Barea's actual efficiency is not the best, but I think if you look at like the past month, it's way better. He's just good enough in the pick and roll, just a good enough shooter, and Rick Carlisle's system, he just knows what to do against any defense, and he's fearless around the basket for a guy who's so short. We've got Dennis Schroder, whose numbers are pretty similar to what they have been the past couple of seasons. The only difference is they're adjusted with the fact that he now takes a few less shots, plays a few less minutes for OKC. The reason the Thunder are so good is because of their defense. But even so, having another guy who can just back up Russ when it comes to ball handling is a big deal. And sure, Schroder doesn't fit in with all the advanced analytics, but he's putting up like 16 and 5 on not god-awful efficiency, so that's pretty good. The biggest thing with Spencer Dinwiddie this year is that his three-pointers are a thing. It was a question of whether he was going to be able to make enough shots to command attention from the defense, which would open up his playmaking, which was already really good for the Nets. And we'll have to see if the three-pointer can maintain itself, but up to this point, it's been pretty good, and they're not just all standstill shots. He is going off the dribble, he's taking advantage of when defenders go under the screen on him, and he still has some decent isolation abilities as well. And I still have no idea who should be the starting point guard of the Nets, but Dinwiddie is definitely making his case this season. Because we can mention him one more time, why not? Derrick Rose, whose jump shot just looks so much better, so much more balanced, and I don't know what he exactly did to fix the thing, but it's clearly fixed. And he still has some decent burst off the dribble. Sure, his verticality is nowhere close to what it once was, but I mean, his craftiness around the rim is still pretty okay, and the T-Wolves offense is very good when he's in there. We're going to move on to the big guys now. Domantas Sabonis. I want to do a whole video on him, because I think the him versus Miles Turner thing is kind of fascinating. He is one of the tougher dudes in the league. Offensive rebounds, rolls to the basket, but he also has a decent touch on floaters, hook shots, runners, mid-range jumpers. And what's nuts with him too is the way he's gotten better each season, and especially since the Pacers acquired him. Who really knows what Sabonis' ceiling is? I mean, he's even shown some passing chops, reminiscent of his father. So yeah, the sky's the limit for Sabonis. Julius Randle could be having his best season. We did see a bit of this towards the end of his last year with the Lakers. The thing with Randle is, if you give him the ball and you give him a decent amount of room to the basket, chances are he's either going to get fouled or he is going to power his way through however many guys you put in front of him. And I think he's one of the more frightening dudes in the league to see coming at you with a full head of steam. I mean, would anybody be down to take a charge on this, 6'9", 260-pound freight train? I think not. Now we have to look at Montrezl Harrell, who, similar to Sabonis, is all about second and third efforts. But in the case of Montrez, it might also be like fourth, fifth, and sixth efforts. I don't know if there's many guys in the league who play harder than he does. And that was his shtick when he came into the league, but now he's got like some real abilities. He knows how to roll to the rim. He's one of the better offensive rebounders. His handle is actually a thing now to where he can get a few buckets in the low post. He's even done a couple of things in transition this season that have been pretty good. I mean, Montrez is becoming one of the more refined bigs in the league. Now we have Marcus Morris, a player who is closer to my heart because I'm a Celtics fan and I've had to deal with this mess of a season so far. And if it wasn't for Marcus being one of the best wings on the team, then who knows where these guys would be at, because Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown have had some tough times, but Morris has been able to come in there, settle things down, make some shots, play some respectable defense, and put up a real efficient 15 points a game. Terrence Ross is looking like the Terrence Ross that people have been waiting to see. There were always flashes here and there. He, of course, has like a 50-point game in his resume. But now his contested shot making is way better. Seems like he has more confidence in his jump shot. And him with the starters has been a hell of a lineup for the Magic because it gives them so much shooting and offensive punch, and he's a big reason for that. We'll see if he can hold it up. And even with all this being said, I do think as of right now, I still have Derrick Rose as the 6th man of the year because the T-Wolves offense, it's just been so much better when he's in the game. He's been a real source for him. I think he's second on the team in points, shot attempts, the whole 9 yards. But even so, Derrick has a bit of competition this year.